Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Nolin Ebel Ame and this news is reaching you live from Abuja. The Bayelsa State Gubernatorial Petition Tribunal has nullified the election of Governor Doye Diri of Bayelsa State. The election was nullified based on a petition by the Advanced Nigeria Democratic Party, which argued that it was unlawfully excluded from participating in the election. Monday's ruling comes 2 days after the tribunal dismissed 3 other petitions against election of Mr. Diri of the People's Democratic Party. As a way of accommodating new correctional measures introduced into the nation's criminal justice system, new sentencing guidelines are being put together by the Federal Ministry of Justice and the Presidential Committee on Decongestion and Reform of Correctional Centers. Justice Minister Abubakar Malami says the new guidelines will consolidate both custodial and non-custodial provisions. Femi Okeu reports.
Nigerian courts have never been left unguided as to how to sentence offenders in our nation's criminal justice system. Whether these sentencing are uniformly applied or not is another issue entirely. But while this issue is being battled with, there are other laws emerging that also need equal sentencing guidelines, such as the Correctional Services Act of Nigeria, which just emerged last year. In addition to the custodial measures the courts have been used to, there are now non-custodial measures which the Presidential Committee on Correctional Service Reform has been working on. For every federal government intervention in our justice system, the FCT High Court is the first platform. So, the new sentencing guidelines is expected to come along with a practice direction by the Chief Judge of the FCT High Court, Justice Ishak Bello.
Some of the weaknesses in the extant sentencing guidelines we have been using. Ambiguity on whether the imposition of non-custodial sentence is an alternative to imprisonment or additional to custodial sentence.
To help scrutinize, review, and ratify the guidelines, a virtual interactive session was held for all the organizations involved, where the Attorney General of the Federation spoke of the need to avoid disparity in sentencing from one judicial officer to the other.
The objective of the proposed consolidated sentencing guidelines are as follows. Set out the requirements and procedure for imposing custodial and non-custodial sentences for the purpose of preventing abuse and ensuring reasonable uniformity and fairness in the imposition of sentences.
It is hoped that the consolidated sentencing guideline will be ready in September. In Abuja, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
Guests on Good Morning Nigeria, while discussing matters arising from deregistration of political parties, have expressed support for the powers of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to deregister political parties which do not meet constitutional requirements. They, however, note that the rule of law must be followed in exercising such powers to prevent unnecessary and prolonged litigation. Lydia Sampson tells us more.
Concerning the deregistration of 74 political parties, INEC is torn between two judgments of the Court of Appeal, one of them affirming its part to deregister political parties that do not meet constitutional requirements, the other calling for a listing of affected political parties, citing lack of due process in the deregistration exercise. INEC is, however, bent on approaching the Apex Court on the matter.
An institution created by law and by the Constitution, we are bound by the laws of the land. And the laws of the land includes pronouncements of the court. But I think that there are some facts that we need to bring to the fore on this. The reasons given by the Court of Appeal in this second case, in this last case, in saying that we should not have deregistered those political parties, were not canvassed for at any time in the lower court, even at the appeal.
So much blame to INEC without looking at some of the components that support elections. So we need to have a conference with the political parties first. They must give their own positions as regard to what is going on with them, what they are feeling, what their challenges are.
And the Constitution is very clear about the verification exercise. There are penalties that the Constitution has stated clearly that INEC can sanction the political party that does not meet up the standard requirements. Now, this is not in peculiarity to Section 225A on its own.
A legal expert, however, observed that the Tony issue could have been avoided in the first instance.
The fact that you have power to do it, or that you may be right in a circumstance, does not mean you should not follow the process. Doing things the right way will ensure that these litigations are kept to the barest minimum.
For now, all parties in the matter will wait for the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Let's now turn our attention to education. The long-awaited 2020 SSCA examinations has commenced across the country and in the FCT schools. Hadiza Godwin-Ebune, who went around some schools, reports that the examination commenced under strict COVID-19 protocols.
Under strict COVID-19 protocols, students were checked before going into the examination halls for the 2020 Senior Secondary Certificate examinations. West Africa Examination Council Supervisor Nkiruka Amolu says this year's question papers are customized to enable proper identification of candidates.
You don't need to have a different answer sheet to a different question paper. Everything is customized now.
At about 10 a.m., the candidates had started slogging it out with the most dreaded subject, the general mathematics, which is the first paper on the 2020 SSCE timetable. The candidates say they cannot be more prepared as all stakeholders have come together to ensure their success.
I've read all of this. It's normal. It's not hard. It's easy.
It's the normal wire questions. The school has prepared us for all this.
If you actually studied and listened in class and listened to what your teacher said, you hopefully pass this exam successfully.
Teachers, principals, and head of schools say the 2 weeks resumption is ample time to mentally prepare the students for the examinations.
The government has also provided everything needed for the takeoff.
We've been doing face-to-face classes and all that, and I sincerely believe that with the little that we've been able to do over the time, plus what we have been doing for the past 3 years, from SS1 to now, I think they should be able to do well.
All stakeholders are optimistic of a successful outing of the 2020 SSCE amid COVID-19 pandemic, which almost altered the 2020 academic session. Hadiza Godwin-Ebune, NTA News.
From the FCT, we move you over to Akwa Ibom now. The rescheduled 2020 WAEC has commenced under strict observation to COVID-19 safety protocols in Akwa Ibom State. These stakeholders say is to ensure that the students are safe throughout the duration of the examination. Clement Barikwi reports.
This is one of the examination centers in Uyo, and the situation here is calm. Before the candidates and the invigilators are allowed into the examination hall, they had to go through COVID-19 guidelines of hand washing and temperature checks. These processes are the same in all the centers visited within Uyo Metropolis.
Our first challenge was to accommodate the children in one hall.
We are using about 17 classrooms, including the hall, making it possible for us to maintain the social distancing. In fact, if you look at the students, you find that all of them are on face mask.
In fact, the precautional measure of COVID-19 has been observed in that hall.
Some of the candidates share their experiences so far.
So definitely we don't have problem now, because actually what the teacher has been teaching us in class is been here already.
I'm so happy about it. That finally we have write the exam. So I'm very prepared for the exams, and I know that God will help me.
Stakeholders say for the safety of the students and others, the standard set on the first day of the examination must be sustained. In Uyo, Clement Barakui, NTA News.
For more on WAEC, let's join Adiola in our Lagos Networks Center. Adiola, how is the examinations going over there?
Thank you, Nolan. It's going very well. The long-awaited 2020 West African Senior School Certificate Examination has started, and candidates in Lagos are excited that they are part of the process against initial decision. Hingino John Adams tells us more.
This year's West African Senior School Certificate Examination is different from previous ones. Schools visited in Lagos operated in compliance with COVID-19 preventive protocols. Apart from the usual examination screening, candidates had to undergo another form of screening, and this must happen daily. The routine begins with the no face mask, no entry rule, temperature checks, hand washing, and social distancing.
We have our sanitizers points for them, but we also told them that each of them should bring handy sanitizer. In the course of writing the exam, also they should have a handy sanitizer that they will be using from time to time.
Everybody is not sitting as close as they used to be, no hugging.
The examination, which started with a core subject, mathematics, went on smoothly, but for a little delay at most of the centers.
Maybe due to logistics and protocols, it takes some time before they start the first paper.
Yeah, I expect nothing but success, because everybody here has been reading. Right from this morning when we came, everybody came early.
Stakeholders in the sector say they are working to ensure that the whole process is hitch-free. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
Now away from education to security. The perfect recipe for winning battles and security interventions is adequate supply of logistics, and this approach is strategic for the Nigerian Army. The recent exercise Lifeline is therefore targeted at equipping participants of the Nigerian Army College of Logistics Course 17-2020 with fundamental requirements for achieving victory in conflicts. Lynn Leneke has details.
The Nigerian Army has continued to record successes in tackling insecurity in the country, as well as degrading the insurgency of Boko Haram in troubled spots. These triumphs also depend largely on the retraining of officers. And to ensure more wins, NACOL is restructuring models to include field practicals.
Ilaro at grade 8056.
The exercise, which took place in Pakwalanto and Ilaro communities in Ogun State, is among requirements for the award of certificates at the end of the course. Also exposed participants to proper planning before commencement of operations, build-up and deployment of forces.
Logistics, again, like you see from this exercise, the lifeline, is the life wire of military operations. Okay, so it's very, very important. If there's any word more than very important, I think that's what logistics is. And it's important that the middle cadre officers whom we're training here have a firm understanding of the conduct of military operations in support of our troops, particularly in the current setting, which I've said is rather very difficult.
The Nigerian Army College of Logistics was established to formally develop officers for enhanced internal and external army operations. The Army expects participants to display advanced combat proficiency during asymmetric or conventional warfare as an outcome of Exercise Lifeline. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
We're done for now. We'll take a break and the news will continue thereafter.
Press release. The Honorable Minister, Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, cordially invites all metallurgical industry operators, heads of parastatals, the academia, all other stakeholders to the second Nigeria Metallurgical Industry Stakeholders Forum, MISF, engagement of the Northeast Geopolitical Zone. Theme, COVID-19 pandemic, impact and way forward for economic recovery and growth through value addition in the minerals and metal sector. Date, Tuesday 18th and Wednesday 19th August 2020. Venue, Azibo Street Event Center along Das Road, opposite NEPA office, before Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi State. Time, 9 a.m. daily. Signed, Edit Sunday Akpan, Permanent Secretary.
Glad to have you back in Abuja. Now, concerned about the deplorable state of roads in Imo State, Governor Hope Uzodinma has affirmed his administration's commitment to the provision of roads that will stand the test of time. The governor made this known while inaugurating some newly constructed roads in Owerri, the Imo State capital. Bride Ebochu reports.
The poor state of roads in Owerri, the Imo State capital, has been a major source of concern to residents. Governor Hope Uzodinma, in fulfillment of his urban renewal policy, on assumption of office, commenced construction of some roads in the Owerri municipality. While inaugurating the ones so far completed, which include Assumpta Owerri Port Harcourt Road, Ibari-Owa, a 4.5 dual carriageway, the governor says it will stimulate the economy and improve the life of the people.
This road is very critical because of the economic importance. Not only the level of Imo State, but also the federal government.
The completion of these roads will aid the congestion of traffic within the Imo State capital, in Owerri. Bright Ebochu, NTA News.
Communities in Gulani local government area of Yobe State have been cut off from other parts of the state following a heavy downpour that destroyed the linking bridge in the area as well as eroding some portions of the main road. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
The recent heavy rainfall has cut up the only road linking Bara, the headquarters of Gulani local government area, with Tataba community of Yobe State. The road, which has suffered erosion problem, finally gave way and making life difficult to people in the affected areas. So far, business activities are almost coming to a halt, a situation that is affecting the socio-economic life of the people. To temporarily ease their sufferings, especially in the face of COVID-19, the local government authority has provided an interim measure to facilitate movement of people and goods in the area, with the assurance of taking the issue to the appropriate authorities for intervention.
This work is even beyond our what we can do, but nothing we can do. We have to come in.
Observers are of the view that urgent attention is required to give the people a sense of belonging in the state. In Damatru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
And still talking on a natural phenomenon, Niger State government has been called upon to enforce the building code to stop people from constructing houses along riverbanks and floodplain areas. Head NEMA operations in charge of Niger and Kwara States, Wagami Lydia Madu, made the call at the symbolic presentation of relief materials to the victims of July flood disaster in Suleja local government area. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo reports.
As this water just vibrate that day, I say, come husband, say, see this water. Now so we pack our children because I don't already dream. Before we know, our fence just collapsed like that.
That was the experience of Florence Enuebe during the July flood, which affected 553 households in about 6 communities in Suleja local government area, leaving 14 persons dead and 4 still missing. Building materials, food, and other necessary items supplied by the National Emergency Management Agency to cushion the effect put smiles on the faces of the victims. Speakers at the symbolic presentation of the relief materials cautioned the victims to abide by the rules and regulations of house construction, considering that most of the victims of the flood disaster erected their houses along waterways.
If Abuja is planned very well, the border communities also need to be planned very well.
State government wants to have a lasting solution because the whole thing has become an annual incident.
Some of the victims are thinking of employing Plan B while constructing new houses.
Presently, I started thinking to look for another place.
I go go find place to rent.
The NEMA officials had earlier paid homage on the Emir of Zazzau Suleja, Mala Muhammad Awal Ibrahim, where they intimated him on their mission. The monarch, while urging the federal government to consider Suleja, attributed the flood disaster to poor management of land as a result of influx of people into Suleja due to its proximity to the federal capital territory, Abuja. In Suleja, Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
Salamatu in Kaduna is she has a story from that zone. Hi, Salamatu.
Hello, Nolin. Welcome to Kaduna. The national president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Reverend Olasupo Ayokunle, says sustained all-inclusive dialogue between aggrieved parties is the surest way out of the prolonged southern Kaduna crisis, rather than blame game among people with stake in a region. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports that the religious leader led a high-powered delegation of members of the supreme body of the Christians for a talk with Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai.
A delegation on a mission in search for peace in the troubled southern Kaduna region engulfing conflict and bloodshed. At hand to receive the delegation are policymakers and conflict managers preoccupied with the mission of recovering the peace that eludes the people that were known for centuries of peaceful coexistence. Former Deputy Governor of the state, Barnabas Yusuf Bala, who hails from the troubled region, is in the meeting, and so is the current Deputy Governor Hadiza Balarabe, also a citizen of the region. Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai informs the CAN president and his entourage that, in spite of false narratives and baseless claims from some quarters, great achievements have been recorded in the collaborative efforts towards arresting the problem that had lingered for a while now.
While we mourn the dead, our immediate focus remains to stop the cycle of attacks and reprisals. We remain committed to ending the legacy of violence that has blighted the state for 40 years, needlessly taking many lives and curtailed the life chances of many others.
President of the Christian Association of Nigeria is optimistic that the remedy to the crisis lies in sincerity, dialogue, forgiveness, and respect for human dignity, while security operatives should resort to advanced technology in fishing the criminals from their hideouts.
We would dialogue also with the warring parties as much as possible, especially through the Nigerian Interreligious Council. I will speak with His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto on how we can bring both parties to our meeting in the round table conference. Set up a special committee to really go deep with them.
The stakeholders' engagement continues until peace is delivered in southern Kaduna. The call from the stakeholders is for people to be conscious of what they say. From the Government House, Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And still talking peace in southern Kaduna, the Nigerian Air Force has deployed special forces to support the ongoing military intervention towards restoring normalcy to the region. This follows a directive by the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar. Abdullahi Muhammad has the details.
These special forces of the Nigerian Air Force are expected to join forces with other military personnel in southern Kaduna to secure the mandate of the Operation Safe Haven. The troops will also be supported with the air component of the Nigerian Air Force, which is also set to wing out shortly. Air Vice Marshal Musa Mukhtar told the troops to remain disciplined and respect human rights while discharging their duties.
We have our Operation Thunder Strike, which is domiciled in Kaduna here, that takes care of the northwest axis. So definitely the air power is going to be originated from here, but we have an air company commander there as well who's going to coordinate the air power aspect.
Air Vice Marshal Musa Mukhtar urged the public to avail the troops meaningful information to succeed in their operation. In Kaduna, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
That is it from here. Over to Nolin in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Very well, Salamatu. House of Representatives Committee on National Planning and Development has advised the authority of the Center for Management Development to pay more attention to training instead of investing in capital projects. Members of the committee made this known during an oversight visit to the center. Austin Aibe reports.
The Center for Management Development is a resource institution established in 1973 by the federal government of Nigeria. It is an operational arm of the Nigerian Council for Management Development. The visit by the committee is to find out the positives coming out of the Center for National Development. Briefing the committee, the Director General of the Center, Beatrice Chinoko, said the Center has been involved in building structures to enhance professional standards for the attainment of the nation's development goals. While stressing that internally generated revenue of the Center is low, he told the members that it is remitting 25% of revenue generated to government coffers.
We are supposed to start remitting in 2018, and that we have religiously done. So there is no issue as regards to the IGR. Our IGR base is too low, and we have asked that our major function, which is capacity building, should not be seen as a revenue generating affair.
Chairman of the committee, Abdulganiyu Cook Olododos, and others took a look at recent budgets at the center and advised that they pay more attention to capacity building instead of investing in infrastructure.
We really appreciate your effort at least in turning around the center. But at the same time, you want accountability because our people are suffering at the grassroots. What is said, one of my colleagues, we need to improve on our capacity building. That is what we are lacking in this country.
Other grey areas in the submission by the center, the committee said a meeting will be convened for comprehensive assessment in Abuja. Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
The mandate of transforming Nigeria as one of the fastest growing digital economy and minimizing security challenges is on course. Minister of Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami re-echoed this at the inauguration of the National Information Technology Development Agency headquarters and other projects that are geared towards actualizing the mandate. Hamman Jabani reports.
The new corporate headquarters, new logo, new mission, vision, and core value translates to new and more responsibility to the National Information Technology Development Agency in line with the digital economy policy and strategy for a digital Nigeria. The new building houses the Integrated Computer Emergency Response and Readiness Center to enhance national cybersecurity, digital multimedia studio with online digital skills and literacy capacity building, as well as digital conference room for remote collaboration.
It's very important for the country to know that our SAT has been upgraded, and we will continue to monitor potential attacks on our country and notify institutions. Computer emergency response and readiness team is key to our cybersecurity.
When you are building a digital country, everyone needs to be digitally literate. So we are going to embark on massive training for our citizens, online trainings. We have started with the NIDA Academy. So far we have more than 24,000 Nigerians.
The ministry and the agencies under it were galvanized.
Experts in the communication industry commended the rebranding of the digital economy by the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy and his parastatals, which has in a short term started yielding results. It is believed that with the new policy by the 19-year-old agency towards the implementation of national ICT policy, it will be a game changer in Nigeria's culture mindset and successful implementation of the national digital economy policy. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
And next on Nationwide is Dibabari, who is coming live from our Port Harcourt Network Center. Hi, Dibabari.
Nolin, thank you for joining Port Harcourt. The West African Examination Council has commenced the 2020 Senior Secondary Schools examination in Rivers State. Kingsley Amaji visited some schools in Port Harcourt and reports that the much-awaited examination began with strict adherence to directives on safety protocols.
The WAEC examination across the 257 centers in Rivers State is taking place with strict compliance to the COVID-19 protocols. Faith Amade is among the thousands of students sitting for the mathematics examination in Rivers State on the first day of the exams. Faith and her teachers believe they have been adequately prepared for the WAEC examination, notwithstanding the time lost to COVID-19.
We are all very ready for the exams. I especially have taken now time to study. Today we'll be writing mathematics.
From the gate, you have to sanitize your hands before coming to the school. Then in the classrooms, the students, all of them are wearing their face masks.
The State Commissioner for Education, Kaniye Ebeku, after monitoring the exercise, said the state government is satisfied with the level of compliance in line with the COVID-19 protocol.
WAEC has taken off River State, smoothly, seamlessly. I have gone around a couple of schools since morning, and I can tell you confidently and happily that our schools are COVID-19 compliant.
The examination is expected to last till mid-September 2020. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amachiri, NTA News. Kingsley.
Away from education, economic experts have described the betting of the biggest gearless mask line on the Eastern Port as a blessing. Regional integration, revenue generation, job creation, and boost the economy. Osinachi Abraham has details.
The One Port, situated in Eleme, Rivers State, is a multi-purpose cargo port involved in multiple operations such as general bulk and containerized cargoes, as well as other logistics services. It is one of the largest oil and gas free zones in the world, supporting exploration in production, onshore and offshore logistics, with easy access to the entire West Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. The port covers an area of 2,538.111 hectares and has one of the biggest harbor mobile cranes in Africa. The vessel MV, with length of 300 meters and 48 meters, which berthed at One Terminal, is said to be the biggest container ship to ever call at the Nigerian port. A feat, experts say, is an indication that the eastern ports are equipped to receive all kinds of vessels, and federal government's determination to ensure all ports in Nigeria are working optimally.
River State is the federal ocean terminal where it arrived, that is One, is a very big water. It has the capacity to carry any tonnage of vessel coming into the country.
So if we begin to have this kind of ships that come over here, to batch, one is going to lead to great employment for the people. So it's going to lead to that kind of interaction, between the two regions. Then apart from that, it can also earn the government more revenue.
A statement signed by a spokesman of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Jato Adams, the vessel has a capacity of 9.971 20-foot equivalent unit, a flagship from Singapore. The berthing of the vessels, experts say, opens a new vista for economic growth of the nation. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
The Cross River State COVID-19 response team, in continuation of its sensitization campaign on adhering to COVID-19 guidelines and sample collection, is appealing to the people of Bakassi local government area to be cautious in all their dealings to avoid contracting the virus. Paul Abel completes the report.
At the flag off of intense sensitization, surveillance, contact tracing, and community search for COVID-19 at Bakassi local government area, the task force chairman encouraged stakeholders to be committed as well as pay attention to other health needs.
It's a lot of work to do surveillance, so you're going into the villages to check, are there people who have the signs and symptoms that are of importance to us as it concerns COVID-19, and how can we immediately get them to get tested and of course get the rapid response team to carry out whatever they need to do thereafter. It's important for us as we make progress.
The campaign will not stop here. I'm going to move this campaign to all neighboring communities, the riverine settlements, so that everybody in this community will stay safe, will stay alive, will be able to observe all medical protocols to protect ourselves and life against COVID-19.
Face masks and hand sanitizers were also distributed to residents on the streets and markets in Bakassi local government area. From Bakassi local government area of Cross River State, Paul Abel, NTA News. Paul Abel.
The dawn from here is back to Nolin in Abuja for continuation of Nationwide. Good evening.
Now to updates on COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 298 new cases of COVID-19 across 17 states, bringing Nigeria's caseload to 49,068. The breakdown of the 298 new cases revealed that Plateau State tops the daily chart with 108 cases, followed by Kaduna with 49, while Lagos has 47 new cases. Ogun recorded 18 new cases, Osun 17, FCT 15, Ondo 14, Edo 8, Oyo 6, Akwa Ibom and Cross River 4 cases each, Borno 3, Ekiti 2, while Bauchi, Kano and River States have 1 case each. Lagos State now has a total of 16,503 confirmed cases, followed by FCT with 4,729, while Oyo is third with 2,958 confirmed cases. Out of Nigeria's total of 49,068 COVID-19 cases, 36,497 recovered cases have been discharged, while the death toll is now 975. Succor in form of palliative came to the settlement of disabled people in Karamajiji community. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports that the outreach is a regular gesture from a group of philanthropists.
Karamajiji community, a remote village in the city, is home to many living with disabilities. Fatima Haruna, a mother of 6, finds life difficult being a mother with special needs. She tells the story of rejection, difficulty in integrating with the larger society, which has made her family unable to feed properly. Same goes with other disabled settlers in the area who survive majorly through begging. Today, help has come. Leader Joe, alongside other philanthropists, are in the community for their usual medical and almsgiving to mark 3rd year of the foundation.
So there's a community like this in Abuja with disabled people. And you know, disabled people, they find it difficult to do farm work. They find it difficult to do some, jobs.
In the nearest future, we are looking at building a medical outlet in most of this community because they don't have. Looking at building a foundation where they could have, where they will be taught how to use their skills to make money for themselves.
1,000 children whose parents are disabled are the beneficiaries.
They have been coming here with support, different type of support. And again, today they are here. Normally, every year, the day of humanitarian, they are here with us. They celebrate, both men, the children, and the women.
Leader Joe Foundation has reached over 60 communities in the FCT with medical outreaches, rehabilitation of some schools, and campaign on COVID-19 prevention. In Abuja, Ike Chukundukwe, NTA News.
It's time for another break. We'll be back shortly.
NTA TV College Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is currently admitting students for its ordinary diploma programs in television journalism, television production, and television engineering. Interested candidates are advised to obtain relevant information concerning eligibility at our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng or marketing department of any NTA station nationwide. For further information, contact Assistant Director, Marketing, NTA TV College Jos on 0803-314-4383 or the Academic Office of the College on 0806-980-9807. Announcer, Registrar.
Thank you for staying on Nationwide. A report by Global Amnesty Watch says President Muhammadu Buhari has effectively tackled Boko Haram terrorists who were terrorizing 5 states in the northeast and beyond. The report by the international non-governmental organization says the evidence of the liberation is the return of normal commercial and agricultural activities in those areas. Francis Form reports.
According to the Global Amnesty Watch, within 7 days in January 2015, Baga and at least 16 other towns in Borno State suffered multiple devastating attacks, displacing more than 35,000 people. Not only this, the Global Amnesty Watch vividly recalled that, at that time, many people drowned while trying to cross Lake Chad, while some others trapped on the island.
The report was restricted.
Even though the reports lamented over incidents of terrorism in Borno State, particularly, it however acknowledged the successes of the Buhari administration for the commitments in downgrading the insurgents.
It is indeed a statement of fact that Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has done brilliantly in the persecution of the war against Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria. The fact was buttressed by the reintroduction of professionalism and innovations in the operations of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Global Amnesty Watch also observed that this moment the security agencies are conducting their operations in a professional manner. In its recommendation, the Global Amnesty Watch urged relevant stakeholders to continue supporting the federal government rather than allowing politics, ethnic and religious divisions to cause undeserved tension in the country. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
We now go to Jos for more stories with Felicia. Hello, Felicia.
Hello, Nolin. Welcome to Jos. As the 2020 WAEC examinations commence today, exiting students in Jos join others nationwide to start the process amidst COVID-19 safety guidelines. Saadatu Mohammed was at one of the examination centers for an update.
Thank you, studio. Right now we are at the GSS West of Mines Secondary School in Jos, where the examination commenced at exactly 10 o'clock in the morning with mathematics. The students who are in high spirits are well organized in compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols. 63 students are in the hall, while invigilators are strict to ensure that none of the precautionary measures are violated. With me is the school principal.
In the hall, we make sure that there is a
distance, social distance is observed properly to avoid any contact with each other. The students are even wearing their face masks to make sure that they are safe to write this exam. And indeed, we thank the students for complying with the COVID-19 safety measure put in place.
The students are expected to take 2 papers each day as captured on the 2020 period as events unfold. Thank you, and back to the studio.
Thank you, Saadetu. A case has been made for employing the services of qualified engineers and utilizing appropriate regulations in order to avoid recurrence of building collapse in Nigeria. This came to fore during an assessment visit of some construction works in Plateau State by the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSE. Ijoma Ozemena has the report.
The construction work in Nigeria is characterized with myriads of challenges which impel standard in addition to the use or non-use of quality material. These challenges, the Nigerian Society of Engineers says, could be controlled only by adherence to appropriate regulations. Recent incidents of building collapse across the nation in which loss of lives and property have made the need for improvement in the standard of construction and document for quality management more critical.
Once any building collapses, we go there, we look at it. Once we found an engineer, I have 9 cases of collapses across Nigeria, and they are now facing current tribunal.
This team of engineers also inspected Faculty of Engineering in the University of Jos, which is one of the new faculties in the institution holding 5 departments.
The peculiar role that engineering will play in the development of any serious country. If we pay adequate attention, we will certainly get it right.
Moving on to structures at the Plateau State Secretariat roundabout, which displayed pictures depicting the culture of Plateau people, as well as inspection of solar energy works at Murtala Mohammed Way. The Nigerian Society of Engineers, founded in 1958, has the mandate of enhancing high professional standards and ethical practices among its members. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
Jos is done. Let's rejoin Nolin for more reports in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Felicia. The Center for Strategic Studies at the National Defense College has launched a project aimed at strengthening national and regional capacity for peace support operations. The project is a collaboration with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, with support from the government of Japan. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
It's a new dawn in peacekeeping operations as the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning represented launches a project which will reposition Nigeria as a global power in conflict resolution.
This laudable initiative could not have come at any other time than now, when Nigeria and other West African countries are facing different security challenges. Hence, the need to build capacities and resilience of critical actors towards eradicating these same challenges.
This is the context within which the Center for Strategic Research and Studies of the National Defense College plan to conduct these courses. The courses are tailored to prepare participants to acquire knowledge, skills, and understanding of protection of civilians.
We extend our protection to the government of Japan. Thousands of men and women are benefiting from the government of Japan's effort.
Let me also convey a deep appreciation to the United Nations Development Program for their unfailing partnership.
Not only is it Africa's foremost military training institute for senior officers, the National Defense College also contributes to peacekeeping missions around the world by providing strategic training in peacekeeping operations. The project will kickstart the training of prospective peacekeepers for ECOWAS, African Union, and United Nations peace missions. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
A workshop to promote accountability, efficiency and productivity in the nation's civil service has commenced in Abuja. Abdul Malik Adio reports that the program, which is organized by the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation in collaboration with the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, also aimed at supporting the federal government's effort to improve the ease of doing business in Nigeria.
Now, certain objectives can sometimes be daunting, but I'm sure we're all familiar with the SMART objectives. That is, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Well, this useful acronym simply puts us on the right path. But without the use of these words in the right context, then the task becomes simply Herculean to achieve.
On this note, I am indeed honored to declare this 3-day Train the Trainers workshop open to the glory of God.
The task before these facilitators is to inculcate the principles of accountability, equity and transparency in civil servants.
When this new PMS is fully operational, every individual, unit, department, and institution in the public service will be held accountable on a continuous basis to ensure that national development goals are met.
The workshop is expected to rub off on participants in terms of behavior, competence, and other values in line with agreed-based assessment of the 2017-2020 Federal Civil Service Strategic Plan in 8 priority areas.
So the civil service is moving away from the usual thing of come to work in the morning and then just think that your salary is assured whether you work or not. Your promotion and your performance is going to be tied to your deliverables.
I want to say that what we're about to embark on or learn in these 3 days is life-changing, because if you internalize it and apply it to yourself first, then it's easy to apply it to every other person that walks around you or with you.
The organizers would be open that at the end of the 3-day training and routine evaluation of outcomes, there will be a positive impact in structural transformation and learning flexibility in the Federal Civil Service. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Adio, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thanks for your time. Be responsible because coronavirus is real. Stay safe. I am Nolin Ebel Ame.